What's up guys, Jeff Cavalier, ATHLEAN-X.com. So if your body looks like this right now, what would it mean to you if you could actually make it look like this? Or if you're a little bit older and your body looks like this, how do you think you'd feel if you could look like this instead? Or maybe even if you look like this to start, do you think you'd feel better if you look like this? Well, if you answered yes to any one of those questions, I got good news for you because I'm going to help you get there. Today I'm going to show you just 4 steps that are simple, proven, and science-based that I promise you are going to get you to a fit body. Let's start breaking them down one by one. All right, so as you make your way through this video, you might recognize some of the things we're talking about here because you've heard them before. However, I'll ask you, if you've heard it, how come you haven't been able to act on it? Because while others may have given you the advice and maybe shown you the door, they haven't given you the key to unlock the door. Well, that's what I'm going to give to you. Because we've all heard the advice, for instance, that you need to be in a hypocaloric state in order to lose body fat. That is indisputable, and many studies have proven this time and time again. However, it's not happening. The reason for it is you're either choosing to be hypocaloric or you're choosing to be hypocaloric. And there's a big difference. You see, guys, being hypocaloric is a non-negotiable when body fat accumulation is your issue. The only way to get rid of that excess body fat is to take in fewer calories than you're burning off throughout the day. However, how big of a jump are you trying to take? Because those that take too aggressive of a jump not only find that their diet becomes unsustainable, but they actually set themselves up for failure because it's in direct conflict to one of the other points we're going to talk about ahead. So what type of deficit are we talking about here? Well, you've probably heard the recommendation of a 500 calorie deficit from baseline to create a 1 pound weight loss over the course of a week. 7 days in a week, 500 calories a day, 3,500 total calories, supposedly equal to 1 pound, although science will actually disprove that too. But as a rough estimate, we can go with that. However, even at a 200 calorie deficit, there's science that proves that we can do exactly what we want to do, albeit at a slightly slower pace. If I promise you, however, that you still be able to look the way you want to, would you be okay with that? If so, then let's proceed here to step number 2. You still with me? Good. Because whether you've read the studies yourself or just trust in the people that have read them for you, the idea is that you need to take the next step, and you probably know that. But how? How are you going to become hypocaloric? And this is where people tend to choose their next diet. Paleo, keto, Mediterranean. Where instead of focusing on the name of how you're going to eat, you really should be focusing on the 2 main things that matter the most: your preferences and your behaviors. And when we talk about preferences, yeah, it's about the type of foods that you like to eat. We want to make sure that we're not restricting too much the type of foods we like to eat, or we're never going to stick with our strategy long term. But more importantly, what's the behavior that set you up in the position you are at right now? Because the behavior is the habitual component. It's the habit you develop. And breaking a habit is a hell of a lot harder than making some tweaks to food choices. For instance, if your behavior is that you eat too much at every given meal, what are you going to do about it? Well, here's where the key to that door comes in. Because if you decide that I'm just going to restrict the amount of food that I eat, you're likely not going to be able to stick with this plan for the long term. So what I would say instead is, let's figure out a way to work within that behavior. Instead of requiring an overall behavior change, let's reallocate where we're going to have our portions be large. I'd rather see you have an increase in fibrous carbohydrates, knowing that the fiber content is going to actually fill you faster, but I'm still not going to deprive you of the larger portions that you tend to need in order to make you feel full. But we're going to do it from a less calorically dense source. So if we can cut down on some of those starchy carbohydrates, but still allow you to eat them, because again, preferences matter. You do like the carbohydrates, we're just going to eat them in smaller amounts. This is going to be a diet plan that's set up for success because it's working both from a behavioral standpoint and not restricting the preferences that you have in the first place. All right, so in steps 1 and 2, we've addressed the fat portion of the fat to fit transformation. But now what? Well, now we have to focus on what we're doing, right? The calories out portion, where we exert our efforts, because you've probably been told that maybe even all exercise is created equal, when it's not. Making the wrong decision here will just leave you skinny, and I don't think that's what you're looking for. Because when you looked at those pictures in the beginning here, what appealed to you was likely the muscular development in the after photo. That's what made it stand out. Going for a jog or a run or jumping on a bike is an effective way to burn some additional calories and help you to more effectively and easily get into that hypocaloric state, but it's not doing anything to create these after photos. Because these after photos rely on building lean muscle tissue, and the only way you're going to do that is by incorporating strength training into your regular exercise regimen. I'm talking about hitting the weights on a regular basis as part of your overall exercise programming. Look, studies will pit head-to-head diet alone versus diet in conjunction with weight training, and every single time, weight training wins out, especially if it's the muscular physique that you're looking to build. Don't overlook this subtle difference here and assume that all exercise is created equal, because, as I said, it's not, and making sure you get this right is imperative if you want to look like these guys here. All right, so in step 4, well, what training split are you going to follow? Because it matters, or does it? You see, people get confused oftentimes, and confusion leads to no choice at all. I'm going to do a total body split because I was told that's good. Or I'm going to do push-pull legs. Or I'm going to do the bro split, but no, people have said that's bad. So you know what? I'm going to do nothing. Well, you need to do something as we just established. So what I'm going to tell you to do is just make sure you're doing this. Here's the key: progressively overloading. Adding more weight to the bar to allow your strength to build from workout to workout or phase to phase. Or increasing metabolic overload and demands in your body by keeping the rest time shorter and getting more work accomplished from workout to workout. Whatever you might do, whatever strategy you pick, as long as you're striving to push yourself to a higher level of fitness and strength, that's going to do the job. However, if you're a beginner and you're looking for a great 3-day-a-week total body plan that's been shown to help build muscle effectively, you can follow the one that I put together for you for free right here. It's the perfect beginner workout. If you want to get the results like these guys did here, you can follow our AX1 program at ATHLEAN-X.com. If you found the video helpful, make sure you click subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video when we put one out. Beginners, make sure you check this one out. I promise it will help you out.